Welcome back, and thank you everybody for joining us. Appreciate everybody that's here, and certainly the thousands listening online. Very excited about my next guest, Ivo Nelson, Chairman and CEO of NextWave Connect and NextWave Health. Welcome, Ivo.
Thanks, Justin. Great to be here.
And Ivo's also a serial entrepreneur, so a lot of wisdom that you continuously share with not only me, but certainly lots of people. So I appreciate it. And welcome back to the show, because you've been on the show before.
That's correct. Last year.
Fantastic. So, first of all, when did you get in town for HIMSS 16?
Saturday, actually. Played a little golf on Sunday and then went into the grind Sunday night.
Fantastic. And you also host a fantastic event each night, and I'm thankful for that. And I think I'll join you over there tonight, so thank you very much. So we're following a theme here with all my guests, looking at not only what trends are out there, but then also some best practices and actionable intelligence for them to kind of navigate the future of healthcare. So starting off, what are, 2 or 3 of the trends that you're seeing out there from your perspective across the industry?
Yeah, let me. I think I probably have a different perspective than some of your other guests, because in order for me to do what I do, invest in companies and then grow them, okay, that company's got to start way beyond before the trend hits.
Very true.
Okay, so we've got to be 5 years ahead, see things 5 years before everybody else does, okay? So that company's got to be ready. That's why I call my company NextWave, is when that wave hits, the company's prepared, they've got good infrastructure, they've got referenceable clients, and all that type of stuff, and they can actually ride that wave. So the things that I look for, the primary thing that I look for is what is the government doing?
Right.
Because every major mega trend that I've ever seen in this industry was driven by some kind of government regulatory or legislative change, okay? And I think we've seen that with meaningful use, we saw that with DRGs, we saw that with HIPAA.
Yep.
The only thing I can say they were not responsible for was Y2K. Right. Virtually every other trend we've got out there was government driven, so if you can have insights into where you think CMS is going and stuff like that, then you got an edge. Okay, now that's not easy to do, so you've got to kind of make your bets. And I've hit some home runs with that. Examples, obviously the EMR started a consulting firm that had a clinical orientation, and by the time meaningful use hit, we were ready for it. We were able to ride that wave. That company went from 4 million to 20 million to 42 million to 60 million to 90 million in 4 years. So that's tremendous growth that would never have happened had we not had the support of the government in that process.
No, that's fantastic, and I couldn't agree more. You look out at, even our hockey stick growth that we had at Greenway, it was around, we worked a lot on the meaningful use incentives, and then when meaningful use hit, obviously it fuels a lot. And I think people don't pay enough attention to exactly that aspect, and they think, government affairs is for big companies and government relations are free, and it's really not, because if you aren't in sync with where government regulation is going, if you're not part of that tidal wave, and at times you're going to get just swallowed up by it, and you'll drown. Your company will drown, because if you're not ready for it, or you're not navigating it and surfing it correctly, you can be in a lot of trouble. You can either do really well, or it can cause a lot of problems. So that's actually fantastic advice.
Yeah, say right now, what do I see happening? The things that I'm kind of getting excited about. My prediction is that, and I think probably people see it now, is the whole reimbursement. I think we're going to see a revolution in reimbursement. I think that people want to get hung up on this big picture population management kind of cloudy stuff that's up there, as opposed to all the things that have to happen to get to that revolution, like being able to just bill off of a bundle payment. Okay, if you look at software out there now to handle bundle payments, it's there's not a lot out there, along with all the underlying analytics that are needed within specialties. So companies that have a head start there. And there's one, for example, Global Healthcare Alliance that I'm involved with, that has Denton Cooley was his practice. He was one of the great cardiologists with DeBakey that invented the artificial heart. They've been doing it for 15 years. So if you can catch nuggets of gold like that, where they've got sleepy companies sometimes, but they've been onto something, whether they knew it or not. Right. Okay, and then the market comes to them, and then you can jump on that and then ride the wave. That's a great place to be.
No, that's fantastic. So, and for my audience, I know the answer to this, but for my audience, what are the 2 or 3 ways that you're addressing, or how are you addressing as an executive in the industry and a pioneer in the industry?
How am I addressing
these trends? I mean, you're starting, because you start companies, but what are some of the focuses that those companies do? And
sure. Well, part of the trick here, we got a hypey industry, okay? I mean, it's like people can hype. Give an example, analytics, okay? It's been hyped up so much that I don't think anybody can ever achieve the expectations for what you want with analytics, okay? So the things I'm involved with, one is this revenue cycle product, okay? And then also social media. I think that in the course of time, it's still early, for that right now. We've got a workforce that's coming on board now where that's all they know. I mean, I've got kids that range from 21 to 32 years old. They don't use email. They grew up in a social environment. Okay,
right.
That's the way they communicate. Communities for them or their friends. Their friends are not in the neighborhood. They could be all over the world. Okay, that's starting to enter the workforce. Okay, that's starting to enter the workforce, and this concept of enterprise social media in healthcare is perfect. Take HIMSS as a conference right now. Think about all the communities that we have here at HIMSS. It's all physical. It's all using email. They don't really have a way to make that a virtual experience for them. So that's one of the companies that I'm involved with. I think we're still 4 or 5 years off, really, frankly. But again, in my world, you've got to start 5 years ahead to be able to catch a wave that's going to happen 5 years later, so you're ready.
I couldn't agree more. So in closing, what are 2 of the 3 best practices that you would tell either a CEO or a CIO or an executive with a health system or even a medical practice on what to look for in 2016? What's some advice that you give or best practices?
I think that I in terms of methodologies, the lean startup is the one that I think is the best. Where, you may think you've got a good idea, and the hard thing about healthcare is that the things that make sense, really sometimes things that make a lot of sense, okay, nobody buys it, okay?
Right.
So if you can start small, get a couple of referenceable clients out there, build it, and then replicate that. Once you've got a proven model that people are going to buy,
yep.
then that's the way. I've done some deals, some companies where we went big fast,
right,
and it didn't work. We missed the mark. We had to make big time pivots in the company. It cost us a lot of money to get it right. So starting small, getting the base out there, and then replicating that, I think, is great big practice for this industry, particularly.
That's fantastic, Ivo. Thank you very much. I appreciate you joining us on air today.
All right, Justin.
Hopefully I will see you, and again, welcome back to the show. And don't you have a book coming out? Are you right?
No, I'm working on one that's about all this stuff that we've talked about. It's figuring out how to make money in healthcare is not an easy thing to do because it's like I said, it doesn't follow logical patterns like other industries do.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to find some insights into that.
Fantastic. Well, I'm certainly whatever I can do, Ivo, it'll be my pleasure, and I'll see you tonight as well at your party.
See you pub night.
Thank you, my
Thanks,
friend.
Justin.
Take care, Ivo. Ivo Nelson, thank you very much.